What is gravy, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I apologise for the week break. If you don't follow me on Twitter, then you probably just left in the dark. I started a new job and it sort of took more of my time than I anticipated for the first week, so I didn't have time to make any videos. But here we are, refreshed, relaxed, and ready to jump back in with a brand new trophy update. So, on the last video, a couple of people did ask me to make these a bit more frequently, and initially I wasn't going to bother, just because I didn't feel like I would have enough to show. But as you're going to see, things kind of pulled together a little bit towards the end, and so here we are. If you're going to enjoy this video, then please do hit that like button, and if you're new, consider subscribing. Now grab yourself a brew, put your feet up, and let me take you through my last month of trophy hunting. Okay, so as you can see, we are right where we left off. Obviously, Ghostwire Tokyo has been platinumed since that last video, and if you haven't seen it, go check out my video I did on that, talking about the entire platinum experience. It was a fun time, believe me. One thing I do need to mention, obviously Elden Ring is still sat here at 4 trophies. I understand, I've just not had the time. There's been other things on my mind, other games that I've been playing, and yeah. I've just not had the chance to sit down and properly give it the time it deserves, so it's still there. With that said, let's get into it, shall we? So the next few games after Ghostwire are all a bit disappointing, but we'll talk about it when we get there. So, there we go. So we've got Mafia 3, In Nightmare, Octodad, and Immortals. Now, Mafia 3, if you saw the last video about platinums I'm not going to finish, you won't need me to explain any more than that. If you haven't, go check it out. I highly recommend it, not just because I made it. But yeah, it doesn't help as well that in the comments for that video, some people let me know that in fact a lot of the trophies are glitched and you have to do 2 playthroughs back to back without turning off your console, otherwise it doesn't count. So yeah, I'm not doing that. That's going to stay firmly at 47% unless they release DLC for it again. I don't know, but I'm just not doing it. Speaking of glitches in Nightmare, I'm a bit disappointed about this one. I was quite excited for it in the lead up to the launch because it kind of gave me Little Nightmares vibes, like that sort of, like you're a small child in a really big creepy world and everything's all like exaggerated, and it just looked really cool. But unfortunately, after booting it up, playing for a bit, like it played alright. I was having a good enough time. I didn't really play enough to formulate a proper opinion. But then I saw that the trophies were still all at like 0% on PSN profiles, and it turns out there are a few game-breaking glitches and bugs. So for some people, it's just not possible to finish the game. And so I put it down. Hopefully in Nightmare I'll get fixed and I can get back to that at a later date, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Next up, we have Octodad, Dadliest Catch, which is one of the funniest titles ever. It's just brilliant. It's just so creative, and I mean, Bugsnax was the first game from Young Horses I played, but Octodad, you can kind of see the progression there. It's if you've ever played like your surgeon simulators and things like that, where it's very physics based and each of your buttons controls a different limb, and it's just a whole lot of hectic, zany fun. I'm sort of slowly chipping away at that on my Vita when I get a chance to play, because I don't really, if I'm playing games, I'm usually sat at the desk, so I use the console. But I'm trying to play the Vita more, and this is one of the games that I wanted to really get stuck into. Just gonna take a sip. Last up on this little chunk, we have Immortals Phoenix Rising. This game I enjoy. I'm just gonna say that. I enjoy the gameplay, the combat's pretty fun, the characters are all quite funny, but, and this is the big but, it is the quintessential Ubisoft game. It really is. There is so much stuff to do. Just all over the map. Just so much just puzzles for collectibles, puzzles for dungeons, puzzles for chests, puzzles for puzzles. There's a lot to it, and I feel like I keep burning out on it. So I did the first section when I first played, first region finished, went on to the second and burned out. This time I went back, I finished the second section, and then funnily enough, burned out when I started the third. So I think what I'm going to do is just go in, do a section, and then leave it for a little bit, and then I'll go back, do the next one, and so on and so forth. So I will keep going back and chipping away at that one, sort of in chunks as we go along, but I'm quite happy to just let that be a thing that happens. I'm not worried about pushing myself for this. Moving on, we have a game that's taken me quite a while to get to, I'm not going to lie. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, because everyone panned it, and two, because I forgot. But I finally went to and did The Order 1886. I have quite a few things to say about this. I was going to do a video purely based on it, but it just wasn't coming together. So I'll say these things now. I loved this game. I really, really did. I thought graphically it still holds up. It's, 7, 8 years old now, and it still looks stunning. The campaign is fun. It's entertaining. The combat's pretty solid. The criticisms I feel of the game when it launched still exist. I think it's still fair to say it is a very short game, but I think because I bought it for cheap, I wasn't bothered. I think if I'd paid full price at launch, I'd have been unhappy with the final result, but I think if you went to it now and bought it for, say, £10, you'd have a great time with it. It's probably, I'd say, equivalent to like a Call of Duty campaign. It's just obviously there's no multiplayer. It's like that sort of length, which I'm more than happy to pay for because that's the only reason I buy Call of Duty games. But yeah, I can see why people were annoyed, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you haven't played it yet, I'd highly recommend it. Okay, next up, we have a game that's taken me almost since the PlayStation 5 came out to finish, but I finally did it. I went back, I did the multiplayer, and finished off Demon's Souls. Yes, it's my first From Software Platinum. It wasn't even made by From Software. Yeah, so I kind of did 90% of it when it came out, and when I finally got through it, I think I had 3 trophies left. I had the 2 multiplayer ones and getting all of the spells, but at the time I couldn't bring myself to go through the game another 2 times and collect all the items to get the spells. And also I'm not a big fan of From Software multiplayer, so yeah, I kind of had to wait for the stars to align on that one, but they finally did. Got it done. Absolutely buzzing. Right, now we've got another couple of unfinished games, so we're just going to lump all these together in one go and I'll talk about them a little bit. Yeah. So, Vampire the Masquerade and Returnal. Returnal, obviously, it's taken me a long time to get to, and I was really enjoying it. It's just really hard, and I sort of go in and out of phases of being able to deal with beating my head against a brick wall in order to finish something. So I'll keep sort of drifting in and out of that as we do. But Vampire the Masquerade, the Battle Royale free-to-play, I jumped into it with a good friend of mine, John, who you may know. He has a YouTube channel. I will link it down below. Go check him out. Basically, he was like, we need to come up with some co-op games to play together, and Returnal and this new Battle Royale were 2 of the ones we tried. And as far as Battle Royales go, I have no idea because I've never played one. As far as games go, it's pretty fun. I mean, there's not much more I can say about it, to be honest. We jumped in for a little bit, and then that's it. I don't think we're going to go back, but Returnal is something we're definitely going to keep chipping away at in co-op, I think. If I might have to do some more in the single player, just to actually get up to where he's up to, and then we can have some fun just running through co-op and hopefully absolutely destroying everything. But yeah. last up on this little section, Final Fantasy Type 0. Now, this was the next backlog game that I decided to try and do. It's actually one of the first games I ever played on my PS4, and I never got very far because I sort of fell off it. I wasn't big into massive, like, JRPG style games when I first started, like, my account. And this isn't a massive game by any stretch. I think the platinum's about 40 hours long. There's actually quite a lot to it in terms of mechanics. There's like normal combat. There's 14 different characters to play as. There's tactical things that can happen in the overworld. It's a lot to take in, and I think because when I jumped into this recently, I wasn't paying much attention to the story, I've sort of shot myself in the foot. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that and I'm going to dedicate some time and actually immerse myself in the world, because that's what Final Fantasy games are for, isn't it? You need to get sucked in and just really enjoy it, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, next up we actually have a couple of examples of me playing DLC. I know it's shocking, right? Just bear with. First up, Bugsnax. I mean, it was free, so I was obviously going to play it, and you guys know how much I love Bugsnax, so it's no brainer. I have some mixed feelings about it, I'll be honest. I think I'd have enjoyed this DLC a lot more if I'd played through the game again, rather than just jumping in for this DLC alone. Obviously I've not done all of it. There's 3 new trophies, I think. One for finishing the DLC, one for collecting 10 hats, which you can now find Bugsnax around the world with hats on, and one for fully customizing your hut, and I'm still working on those slowly. I mean, I'm struggling to get the hats to spawn. I think so far I've found 4, and I've run through the entire map like 3 times, which is a bit irritating, but we'll get to that. But the one that I'm very, very happy about is this next one, which is Little Nightmares. I finally bought the DLC. That game is now at 100%, and I'm so happy I did it. I mean, you guys know how much I enjoy Little Nightmares and how much I recommend it all the time. And obviously I recently went and did the speedrun trophy, which was my first ultra rare. It's a very special game to me, and I'm so happy I decided to just bite the bullet. I bought all 3 DLCs. There's only, I think they're like an extra chapter per DLC. They're not very expensive. It's like £2 or something, £3. But yeah, so there's 3 trophies for each thing, like a collectibles one, a missable one, and then one for finishing the chapter. And I just loved it. I loved getting back into it and playing something from that world that I've not done before, which was really cool. Now I just hope that they make DLC for Little Nightmares 2, which I don't know if they will, because I'm pretty sure the studio's left. But yeah. Right, before I move on to this next game, do you guys remember that video I made about disrespectful trophies? Going on a little miniature rant about Skater XL and its trophy list? Well, a lovely chap in the comments of that video informed me that there had been a new glitch found that only takes 40 minutes. So I did it. Yeah. I mean, I'd say I'm not proud of it, but I really don't care. I'm just glad that that game is now finished and I can just enjoy it as a game, rather than worrying about that one trophy that's just sat there stopping me from getting the platinum. And yeah, it literally did take me 40 minutes. It takes a bit of setup. You have to sort of wedge something into your analog stick to sort of tilt it just a little bit, and then you have to get out of bounds on the map, and it's a bit of a thing, but it's really worth doing, honestly. And then you just leave it running for 40 minutes, 50 minutes. I think if you do it from scratch, it'll take about 50 minutes. Like, that's how good this new glitch is. So yeah, had to do it. I had to do it. Thank you to the lovely person that told me in the comments. I really appreciate it. Next, we have a couple of short games. I was in a bit of a, not a rut, but as you can see from the Final Fantasy Returnal, I'd been starting new games and sort of not getting into them properly, so I thought I'll pick up a couple of shorter games and the two that I chose were Coffee Talk and Donut County. Yes, I had these recommended to me quite a bit. I've obviously seen them in like Mystic videos, and I think Iliya did a excellent little review on Donut County. If you haven't seen that, I will link that below as well. And honestly, I just really enjoyed playing these little shorter games. Coffee Talk is like the most chill game I think I've ever played. It's basically you run a coffee shop for like elves and things like that, and they just chat and you get to enjoy their stories. And there's some cool little twists and turns in there as well. But as for Donut County, it's just hilarious. It's just a game about raccoons like stealing people's rubbish. It's just great. The gameplay is very simple. Obviously, Donut County, like you can see there, 3 hours and 10 minutes. I think that is the quickest platinum I've ever achieved without auto pops. But it's just a fun game, and it actually does have a story. So, yeah, I'm not above doing things like that, but it was a good time. I'd recommend, 100%. And rounding things off, we have Ollie Ollie on the Vita and Lego Star Wars. Now, Ollie Ollie is another one that I'm sort of jumping in and out of on the Vita when I get a chance, and that's one that I'm probably going to chip away at for quite a while because, yeah, some of the trophies are really hard in that game. Like, there's one for finishing all of the levels on rad mode, which I think means everything you do in the game has to be perfect. And if you've ever played or seen that game, you know that's a big ask, like a very big ask. And I think that's the main reason that it's at 1.6% for the 100%. But I'm hoping that by the time I've got through the entire thing, I'll be good enough to do it. It's just going to take a lot of time. And then Lego Star Wars. It's Lego Star Wars, isn't it? The reason I started this one is, if you, again, don't follow me on Twitter, you might not have seen, but we started a Discord group with me, Jontis, and This Dad's Platinum Journey. If you want to be invited, just message one of us on Twitter and we'll hook you up, don't worry. But basically, we are doing a little trophy challenge for people in the Discord, where each month we'll set a genre or a theme, and then you get points based on trophies for games in that genre. So this first one we did was adventure, because it's quite a broad category. We wanted to start off with something simple, and I was informed that Lego games counted, so I figured might as well. I'm having a great time with it. I will be honest. Each of the episodes is very quick. There's not a whole lot to them. You could literally just mainline the entire thing in about 15 hours, I think. But there's quite a lot of side content and good old collectibles. But it's a Lego game, so I don't mind doing it because they're always fun and goofy and just a bit of a laugh, aren't they? But that's it. That is everything I've earned since the last video. So why don't we end things off by taking a quick look and comparing where I was then to where we are now. Okay, so here we are, stats and figures. As you can see, one thing I managed to do is work out how to remove games at 0% off my list. And so that's why my games played has actually gone down. So that's helped greatly. As you can see, my completion percentage is now 49.09, which means we're ever so close to that 50%. I'm really, really hoping that I can make it there in the next month. We'll have to see. Games completed, obviously that's gone up by 6. We've done quite well there. We've also added 6 platinums to the list. And I mean, trophies per day, I don't care. Stat like rankings, I don't care. And yeah, it's just a great feeling. Like, honestly, I'm actually very, very impressed with how well I've done here. I didn't expect to have got this much progress done in a month, but it's been very satisfying. I've really, really enjoyed it, and I'm just so happy that some of these games are now blocked off and I can move past them, like Demon Souls and Scare XL. I can forget about the nightmares. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you've all enjoyed this little trophy list update. If you want to see more videos like this, then please do let me know down below in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. I do just want to mention that I'm blown away by the amount of people that actually watch some of these videos now. It's really, really humbling to me. I didn't think I'd ever have this many people interested in what I wanted to say, so yeah, just wanted to take some time and say thank you for that. We're very close to 200 subs now, and that's just mind-blowing. So I want you to know that I just really appreciate you guys, and thank you for watching. I shall catch you all next time.